Hi everybody, this is Jill, the private investigator. I'm going to start out by saying thank you so much for all the support that I got and encouragement in the comments of my intro video. And if you're coming from the intro video, thanks for coming back to watch. And thanks for all the new people that are just now stepping in. I wanted to start this video on the Suzanne Morphew case, but real quick, I just wanted to say I am so computer illiterate. I'm just asking that you guys hang in there, bear with me. My camera is breaking up my videos into chapters, so I'm trying to figure out a way around that or to rectify it. If you guys have any suggestions or if you know how to fix it, please, I beg you to leave a comment. But again, you guys, I just hope you bear with me. There is so much to say about the Suzanne Morphew case. I've made this video way too many times than I even care to mention. Outside of me being computer illiterate, I've also had a hard time trying to, I guess, toe a line with the case because we don't know much right now, but the things that we do know just point in a direction that I think has a lot of people worried now. For those of you that are watching that are not familiar with the Suzanne Morphew case, she's a 49-year-old married woman from Chaffee County, Colorado, and she came up missing on Mother's Day of this year. Suzanne, we've heard, has battled cancer just recently, had gotten over it again. She had lived in Salida long, or in Chaffee County, from, I think it was right at about 2 years. Now, the narrative originally went that her children could not get a hold of her. Her two older teenage adult children could not get a hold of her on Mother's Day, so they contacted their father, who was unsuccessful. So he contacted a neighbor who went over and came back to say she was not home. The two vehicles are in the garage. She wasn't there. And for some reason, her husband decided that she went on a bike ride. That was his assumption. That's the story he put out there, which I don't know. Well, let's get into it. So they call law enforcement. The neighbor called law enforcement, which I don't understand why the neighbor was calling law enforcement, why it wouldn't have been her husband, but he was out of town. I don't know. Maybe they'd figured something else that would be better and quicker before he could get home. I'm not real sure. So the bike ride. No one saw Suzanne on a bike that day. Nobody. It was just Barry's assumption. The law enforcement come. They find her bicycle. I've read so many different things. Propped up, stood up on next to a bridge. Well, it was over an embankment. And I watched an interview with her brother, Andy Mormon, on Profiling Evil. I will link their channel down below if you want to go take a look at those. They're pretty interesting. He said he thought that someone had manually thrown that bicycle over the embankment, over the hill, down in the vegetation, the trees. Barry Morphew said that let me back up. He was surreptitiously recorded a couple days later. After they reported her missing, had found her bicycle, he was surreptitiously recorded by a man named Tyson Draper. I will also link his channel down below in case you guys want to go and take a look at that as well. This was within 2-3 days of his wife going missing, and his priorities just seemed off. Instead of, my wife has dark blonde hair, blue eyes, 5'4", 135 pounds. Instead, it was a mountain lion, a bobcat. Could have taken her as a snatched her off her bike. Possible? Probable? No. Like I said, this is hard to make because everything tends to point back to her husband. So I didn't want to come out and pointing a finger, but it is what it is. And even if we put the fact aside that when it comes to something like this happening, the majority of the time, a huge percentage, it is the spouse, the significant other. Even if we put that aside and we talk just about, the facts of what's happening, it still comes back to him. And if we look at the investigation this far, it seems like their investigation is circling around him too and coming back to him. So we've got the bicycle. He surreptitiously recorded, and he was showing Tyson Draper where the bicycle was found and giving his scenarios of what happened. And when he had spoken about the mountain lion possibly snatching her, that it rained and all that evidence would be washed away. And if there was any evidence on the bicycle, that the sheriff's office had destroyed that by touching the bicycle. They didn't block the road off, he said. So it just seems like his thinking was in an odd spot for a man that's missing his wife, to say the least. Now that goes into his silence. His silence has been deafening to me, because not too many people go silent when their significant other or anyone close to them comes up missing. The first thing they want to do is scream to everyone, hey, they're missing, help me look, something. But no, I don't know. He stayed quiet. He put out what I would consider a pre-written, definitely pre-recorded, 30-second little short clip of him begging for or asking for his wife's return. And then it was radio silence from Barry Morphew for how long? Over 2 months, almost 3 months. And then he had done an interview with Lauren Scharf. I will also link her down below if you guys want to go and take a look at those. Lauren Scharf from Fox 21 News, the local news in Colorado Springs. She has been keeping up with the case. Well, she was trying to contact Barry Morphew, and she wanted to do an interview with him. Just recently, he is just now contacting her back. And at first, it was not even his voice. It was just Lauren Scharf reporting on the conversation and quoting him. Now, he is at least letting his voice be heard, but he's still not in front of the camera, which I find to be odd. But anyway, we don't hear anything from him until recently. And what are we hearing about? We're hearing Barry Morphew defend himself. We didn't hear anything about his wife for the longest time, but now he chooses to speak out. And if counsel told him not to speak to the media or anyone, surely counsel would still have that same request for him now. So again, it just doesn't make sense to me. Now, Lauren Scharf, when she was there, she had gone to his house to try and get an interview with him and speak to him. Well, she would go and leave notes in the call and text. Well, she had gone to leave a note one day. She said that there were cameras all over the house pointing in different directions outside. I'm curious to know